my thing real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna read it later. I gotta change my.
Yo, where is KO? There's my Indian man. Where's
am I
my
able to change
Indian man?
my email?
What?
So I can take down one of the YouTube videos I have and make another one, but because I have to give this man full
Oh, I didn't delete the chat where I sent a bunch of pictures. Or Apple sent a bunch of pictures for me.
How do you get your email account switched?
I'm looking through chats in 2015 right now. I don't think it's in here. I think I deleted it. Sorry, what no pictures needed on it. Wait, that won't stop me.
My dude knows.
He never
salvage time. We're going to try hard right now. Look what weapon I'm using. Come on, Warp, you already know.
Oh jeez. Inspect player. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Do you like my shader though? I just got the shader. It's pretty good looking. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Understand. I do have a fucking Hawkman.
Okay, I will.
I'm using Mida though, for real. I don't want to lose. I'm using Mida. I don't want to lose.
Wait, you're using Mida's Oh, I just saw you. I just saw that clip. Oh, all right.
This is my good Mida.
Yeah, but I understand. Oh wait, that's a fucking.
I'm using soft ballistic, so I get the extra aim assist. The more range you have, the more aim assist you have. Remember that, Warp.
All right. I'd rather keep my Hawkmoon though. Short aim assist.
Do you like my conspiracy theory D with full auto and final round, and small bore, for that extra little bit of range, that cheeky little range?
I don't know. I just have the Defiance of Yasmin, and that's pretty alright. My Dread Fang, because I don't have a fucking rocket launcher to go there. Makes me pissed. I don't have a legendary rocket launcher that'd be as good as my fucking sword.
Thanks.
So what am I stuck with? My sword.
Okay.
Where is Thumbkin? Where is Thumbkin?
Okay.
I love how my best fucking ghost shell happens to be.
If we get Larbear, he has a doctrine of passing a depth with target acquisition on it, and it grows more accurate the longer it's fired. And a 1,000-yard stare with the God roll and a Gallo. He's using Gallahorn. It's over, boys. If we get him on our team, he's a striker titan. Larbear. If we get Larbear, we win automatically. He's too good.
I'm sorry to delete
cancerous.
that Clopfic video. You will understand later. I will make another one.
Larbear's on the other team.
Uh-oh.
Because I noticed that it was a lot clearer for my voice, and his voice wasn't.
Was
that?
that?
Stick grenades killed now.
Right.
Dude, no way. He didn't even headshot me. He just killed me. Why?
You know what I'm gonna do? Not gonna fucking deal with that shit.
Or let's just.
Is that
Monte Carlo? Oh, that's a Kelky. If we disable it, we get more points than they do. Think about that. Nice. Fuck you, Larbear.
This
You
shit
read
was
something
long.
to me!
Shit.
I'm disabling it. Cover me, boys.
More points.
Hey, boys.
Oh, and by the way, when I was role playing, I was like, "Hey, Gray, go on, suck it." And he's like, "What the fuck? How about you suck me?"
Work together. We lost our teammate. Oh no, he's just 69? Been dead for 5 hours.
Oh, good enough.
I meant to revive him, but for some reason,
I'm just mailing them. They don't know what to do at close range. They don't know what to do at close range. They're hard scopers.
Let's see.
I'm just mailing the crap out of them. It's funny. I'm gonna respawn. I spawn like right behind you. Why are you singing that? You're freaking me out, Warp.
I'm sorry for.
Don't worry, I stickied one.
Me just being in the
party rockin'. No, no. Shoulder charge cancer.
If you could
Just let
see
them get the
this,
relic and then
see me
kill.
scrolling all the
Honestly,
way
we
up, then
kind of
you
need
would
to get the relic
understand how
if we want to win. Let's get the
annoying
relic.
it is.
I'm getting it.
Oh, G-Gon, the guy I was doing 69 with is back. I'm just joking.
Warp, get in here, please. Get the cover. It's time. We have to hold them back. Because they're like fucking zombies. Oh, dude, he spawned right next to us. Perfect. He's gonna go out instantly.
Okay.
He used this. One of them used a striker already.
This is gonna take a fucking long
So
time because I'm scrolling all the way up.
that's an arc blade. What, dude? Who uses invisible arc blade on PvP? Warp. He's still coming.
Love is the queen.
I'm so far
One
away.
of his stories
I'm so far away. Look how fast they're doing it. What?
They had 2 on there, and Luke Star just fucking got there.
Yeah,
Holy
boy.
shit! Why did they gain so many points from that? Why? And where did what's his fucking face show up? When did that happen?
I don't even know. I have 2 fusion grenades though, right now. So if they want to scrap, they're gonna get scrapped. If they want to scrap, they're gonna get scrapped.
Nazi pony. I remember that.
Got one with my fusion.
Had to go all the way up.
I like how our teammate got in front of me while I was throwing my fusion grenade. I love that shit.
Find the story.
Dude, last word. Our teammate will not kill anybody,
Pass
dude.
this,
Why?
pass
He waits. Revive me, please. For the love of God. Thank you. Alright, get that relic, honestly.
Too bad I can't read
Let's
it
wait,
out
let's wait, let's have
loud
them get it.
easily.
I'm not waiting.
I kind
They're all
of stutter
dead.
sometimes, so.
If we capture it, we're good. We're in the gooch. Let's just snipe from far away. Don't let them like charge us and just kill us all with a fucking shotgun or something.
Let's
No.
see. Oh, here's the story.
What the fuck?
Finally made
He
it.
just no-scoped me.
Okay, let's
I
get
got
to
his
the very
legs.
front.
I'll revive. I'll revive.
Oh, wait, I got a screenshot of it. Well, why the fuck didn't I do that in the first place? Oh, because I wasn't thinking. Oh,
Somebody coming
fuck.
down. Through middle.
Oh.
Fucking dude, the fucking seeker grenade, the seeker grenades they have fucking one shot now. It's so cancerous. There's a Titan.
Okay,
bears here.
the starting of
I threw a fusion at him.
instrumental. Ditsy, no, you need both.
No,
hands to play this
kill him,
piece.
kill him. I was gonna say he's okay. Revive me if you can.
Holy shit. Don't group up though, for real.
Ditsy, no, you need both hands to play this piece. A black-haired mare said that she sat on a bench next to her new prodigy, well, sort of prodigy. Octavia has been trying to teach Ditsy do on the piano for a number of weeks, and she has nearing at the end of her rope. She looked on the poor girl and tried to sync up both hands across the keys on the piano, trying to will her brain and let her fingers move as definitely and expertly as Octavia, but to no avail. Sorry, the words are really small to see and they're really hard to read. So, truth behold, Octavia felt rather bad for the girl. She really had very little inherent musical skills, and it had taken days upon days of persisting before Octavia finally cracked and agreed to teach Derpy, as she was nicknamed, to play the music. The piano seemed to be in a good starting point. It would have let her learn both two clefs at the same time, so that she could begin with another instrument as soon as she had the basic essentials learned. But even the piano had proven to be a massive obstacle for Derpy to overcome. With each hand she could play alone, but if she tried combining the melodies, she could not manage. However, she kept trying, and Octavia found herself pleasantly surprised by the wall-eyed mare's technicality. However, it didn't help that she was never maintained posture either. Then she used her right hand. Her left was glued tense to the front of the medium-length red skirt and the vice versa with her left. And when she tried to use both hands, then not only did she have trouble coordinating, but she squirmed her legs and seemed unable to sit still, but refused to help whenever Octavia tried to sit next to her to show her. And that was what was beginning once more. As soon as Octavia sat next to Derpy, she scooted all the way to the far end of the bench. Derpy, please, I'm trying to help you, and you keep refusing, although you asked me to teach you. What's going on? Miss Octavia, I want to learn. Just she trailed off in a moment, and turned her back to the cellist. I don't want to cause any more problems sitting right next to me, she finished. Octavia was genuinely confused by this. How could I possibly cause any problems by merely being a proximity to her? Octavia leaned a bit to get a look at the music student's face. She spotted a bright red blush spread across her face. The cellist raised a brow at this revelation. Without warning, Derpy stood from the bench, keeping her back to Octavia, her hands firmly planted in front of her. Octavia followed suit and stood to stop her pupil from leaving. Several of her lessons have ended that way already, and she was determined not to let this one of the first ponies she has ever had the chance to teach escape once again. Derpy turned to face Octavia, and her eyes widening as her whole body tensed up. She looked at the musician in front of her as her blush deepened in hue. Hold up. She looked at her musical teacher while holding the front of her skirt down with her hands. Octavia wore a simple black t-shirt and a pair of blue jeans. She didn't look formal all the time, and here in such plain clothes, Derpy looked onward in awe at the mayor, who could wear such casual attire and still look stunning. Derpy, please, Octavia began as she took a step forward. However, having misjudged her distance from the bench, her foot caught on the leg of the bit of the furniture. Octavia's world slowed for a split second as she fell forward. She watched helplessly as the nearest counter slid past. The top of the piano was too far to reach to stop her descent. So Octavia reached forward, trying desperately to cling to anything that could slow or stop her fall. But Derpy was the only thing in front of her. So with one outstretched hand, she reached forward to her student. She grasped something fabric, but it did nothing to keep her face from smacking against the floor. Octavia laid on the floor for a bit, contemplating her lack of poise. For not long, though, she figured out what she actually grabbed a hold of. She raised a hand to her face and checked her nose. Not broken. Nice aside from the bit of discomfort, and suffered no lasting damage from the fall. So Octavia pushed herself up and sat on the ground, grindingly rubbing the side of her face, and looked to Derpy. She immediately concluded that she did not have looked at Derpy. What with her fun little brush of gravity and its vicious streak, she had accidentally grabbed a hold of the hem of Derpy's red skirt and taken it with her to the ground. And that wouldn't have been much of an issue had the lack of her skirt also revealed Octavia a very, very large bulge in the front of Derpy's yellow and white polka dotted panties. Derpy looked to Octavia in horror before moving to cover herself, falling to her knees and squeezing her legs together to obscure her secret place. Um, Octavia was at a loss of words as she had seen. I'm sorry about pulling your skirt down, Ditsy. Octavia awkwardly blabbled as crimson found its way into her face as well. Derpy looked directly at Octavia, or at least directly as she was able to. I'm sorry you had to see me like this. The blonde girl spoke. There were tears rising up her eyes. Motherfucker. There was tears rising up in her eyes. Octavia crawled forward to meet her embarrassed student. As she got near, Derpy tried to get away, but Octavia held fast and pulled the girl into a gentle hug. It took a few moments, but Derpy soon relined herself, her hands from between her legs, and wrapped them around Octavia. Reprocasting the gesture, the two of them held each other as Derpy leaned against the celloist and buried her face in her shoulder. Octavia Derpy began to sob as she held on to her. Derpy, you have been keeping this a secret from every pony, haven't you? The response came in from a nod. And do you find me attractive? Another nod. And you feel guilty about it, am I correct? Motherfucker. I'm sorry, it just likes to, blitz on me. The crying girl nodded once more as she was held in the arms of the musician. Octavia felt horrible. It wasn't right for Ditsy to feel so terrible about something she could not change and had no control over about herself. Slowly, Octavia began to rock back and forth and hum at a soft tune to calm the distressed girl in her arms. The musician raised a hand and ran her fingers through Derpy's long blonde hair as she lured her to a calm state once more. Ditsy, listen to me, Octavia began, her tone soft and nearly at a whisper. You are a pretty and wonderful girl. Having an extra part changes nothing about you or who you are. Derpy finally looked up at Octavia and saw the genuine care in her velvet eyes. Do you mean it? Of course, Ditsy. Of course I do, Ditsy. And I don't mind that you are attracted to me. In the least. Really? Yes, really, Octavia assured. As a matter of fact, I actually think that you are rather cute, Miss Ditsy, she said with a smile. Derpy Doo was overcome, hardly believing that she just heard. Most of her life she had been told that her extra bit was strange and should be kept hidden. And now here she found herself in the arms of one of the only ponies to ever tell her otherwise. Derpy stopped thinking for just a moment. She learned and hoped that she would not be blushing away for trying what she was trying. But she wasn't. At last, the only thing she felt as her lips connected with Octavia's, a slow and long kiss ensured as their tongues and lips danced around one another, and for a moment all have existed to either of them was each other as they sat in trance in each other's embrace, the one girl comforting another as the motion slowly took them the rest of the way to the floor. Octavia was expert with her hands, so she had to be. She made her living as a cellist and a luthier. But now Derpy was on the receiving end of her expertise, tactical skills, as she felt her arachnid balls being teased by her teacher's thumbs and her other 8 fingers, treating her to a pleasant massage alongside of her boobs. A soft moan escaped her lips as Octavia lowered herself a bit, bending over to take a nipple deep into her mouth and swirling her tongue around it. The wild-eyed mare could feel herself getting harder and wetter under the attention of the musician. She took notice of how Octavia was still dressed, and the fabric below seemed to take a barrier of what's necessary to be removed, matched her need to breathe, but from where she was laying, she couldn't reach anything. Fortunately, Octavia seemed to feel the same way as she did. The cellist stood only long enough to shuck off all of her clothing until she was laid down in her own black panties. Derpy thanked Celestia that just a few moments later she was back on the floor next to her. Octavia took a single finger and placed it on Derpy's lips, and from that point she traced downwards, past her collarbone, between her breasts, down her stomach, around the navel, but then she inevitably reached it. Octavia got a very clear look at the golden-haired girl's panties. They were stretched tight around a bulging member that begged to be freed of its prison and was wet in 2 places. Octavia looked at the bulge hungrily, her own need and curiosity beginning to cloud her thoughts as she grabbed the waistband of the polka-dotted panties, and then she slowly pulled them off. Octavia's eyes widened as awe as she seized a derpy's penis. It bounced free. It was massive, trumping than any other stallion Octavia has ever seen up to that point in both length and growth. She quickly rid of Derpy of her underwear and took a moment to stare at awe at the almost unnatural huge column of marecock. It was that moment that Octavia had gotten to see white. There were 2 damp spots in the other mare's undergarments. Her huge virectal dick oozed large drops of pre-cum that pooled and ran down the side of her shaft with breathtaking frequency, and just below that, significantly obscured by her balls, was her moist and glistening pussy. Octavia was baffled as how both sets of the genitalia were completely sexual functional, but her inquiry was quickly cast to the wayside as another thought came to mind. Octavia crawled up from between Ditsy's legs and took a deep inhale, allowing herself to absorb a combination of strong female arousal and intoxicating stallion musk. The slut stuck her tongue out and gave a long sensational lick from the bottom of her partner's wet slit to her clit and to her balls, where she took each into her mouth for a gentle suckle. Her oral organ then moved even further up, continuing the lick base of their shaft all the way to the tip. Octavia felt Derpy's tense and wiggling above her as she used her tongue to swivel around her whole tip, savoring all but the pre-cum that had gathered there before it could escape her. Derpy shuddered a bit from this, and Octavia realized how sensitive the poor girl was. Octavia herself had sex in a good while, but she was certainly not a virginal Derpy has not only pent up but criminally unused a simulation to either her male or her female parts. But what was fine with the idea, Phil, the celloist? All that meant she had to do was to work out with Derpy's easy orgasm. Simple work was a softening pussy, and the stone-hard dick to work with would be no problem. Octavia looked up to Derpy, making eye contact before taking as much as her member as into her mouth as she was able to. However, the blonde girl was just too big, and Octavia could only manage half of the total length, and it hit the back of her throat. The magician was prepared for that, though. Her left hand went to the base of the shaft, stroking it up and down. Her saliva from up provided more than enough lube for her to suck and jerk at the same time. With her right hand, she dove her index and middle fingers into Derpy's hot snatch, while utilizing her free thumb ring and pinky finger to roll and gently squeeze the balls above. The light gray mare shouted out in pleasure. Had never felt do many kinds of sensations all at once, and Octavia had never started moving yet. By that wasn't the case for very long. Octavia had been a multi-instrumental virtuoso that she had always been, was no stranger to moving her hands independently of each other. These skills became even more pendant as her hands never moved at the same speed, alternating hard and fast and slow in an instant, while Octavia worked her upper half of the cock with her mouth. Ditsy moaned and shredded a shout in ecstasy. She was in paradise. Nothing has never felt and had ever felt so gloriously good. Octavia and her magnificent technique made her build up fast. Every passing second, she could feel an inevitable build-up in her balls, in her stomach, in her pulsating vagina walls. Octavia, she yelled between breaths, if you don't slow down, I'll... You don't slow down, I won't... She never got to finish. Instead of automating the grab Octavia by the back of the head and forcing more of her length into her mouth as she came, her pussy spasms coated in Octavia's hand, where a hot film come as Derpy pressed her down. Octavia choked, her eyes watered, and very clear bowls showed her in her throat that the blonde-haired mare throbbed and came directly down her throat. Octavia felt every throb and splurt as she felt the mare's whose dick she was swallowing fire her load into her express route to her belly. Come on, Derpy. Octavia, I'm sorry. It's fine, Octavia said. She licked Derpy's sticky vaginal lube from her hand. You just got caught up in the moment. Nothing to be ashamed of, dear. Derpy's eyes flattening against her head as she heard the words, but now we got to the easy one out, Octavia said mischievously as she climbed her eye level to the sweet blonde mare. They shared another kiss, this one more messy, and Ditsy could taste herself on Octavia's tongue. They stopped making out for just a moment to both look at Derpy's dick. Octavia laughed merely, and Derpy's face fell into one of bewilderment. You are still hot. Derpy, oh, I regret that I ever thought a single second that you wouldn't be able to grow twice. She smiled widely with a great anticipation at Derpy. Wait, you mean we're going to do more? Why, of course, you haven't come yet. I haven't come yet. And to be honest, I'm wondering if I can even take all of you in, she responded. Derpy had almost never thought that it would happen. Derpy spent not a second more. Octavia spent not a second more. Sorry. Sorry, I had to get my throat ready. More on speech, and she pulled her crotch of her black panties aside to reveal her own kneading opening. She slowly lowered herself down, allowing just ahead of Ditsy's engorging cock to spread her most verbal. Derpy, I want to make sure, right now, this is what you want. It was quick, and without a second trace of hesitation. More than anything, she decreed. No more time was wasted on talking. Octavia continued her descent, taking the first quarter of her throbbing column inside of her, and it was enough to almost make her come right on the spot. But Derpy figured she could use some help. She raised her hips, pushing half of her cock all at once, causing Octavia to gasp and wince a bit at the sudden movement. Then she grabbed her Celeste by the hips and brought her back down to the floor with her own hitting her cock inside of her. Octavia's senses were gone to the universe. Never before had she felt so full, and she was hyper-aware that the musicians and her cunt tensing and grasping fall over and over. She could feel every single neuron and guess firing onto the overdrive as her back ached sharply as stretched accommodation of the massive cock. Derpy, for her part, was breathing with nothing but raw sensation. She was inside of another mare, and in fact sending her mind reeling. The sensations, coupled with a groaning, more primal hunger spiked in Ditsy's, and she reached up, pulling Octavia down a bit so that she affordable more mobility, and she was able to fuck Octavia. She wasn't gentle at the slightest, slamming herself in and out, over and over, with persuasive sound of fur and flesh, sounding like a snare in the on the confines of a room. The tongue of the Celeste lolled out of her mouth as low as guttural moans burst from her. It didn't take long for all of her huge members smashing against all of her moist, deep, and sensitive place before Octavia came. Muscles in her whole body contracting and stars exploding in her vision. The mad and sporadical pulses and spasms from Octavia's hole as her juices dripped down Derpy's scrotum and to her own slit as a huge monolith of dick throbbing mightily and threatened to burst at any moment. Dissy did not stop for the fraction of a second. She continued on her own path to orgasm. Octavia, for her part, was lost in the ocean of ecstasy, many orgasms changing together one after another in a rapid succession, as she tried with every fiber of her soul to milk the blonde girl dry. Her effort wasn't unrewarded, and as soon as she could feel thick ropes of vicious ejaculation being pumped deep into her waiting room, all was done. The magician collapsed exhausted on the top of her partner. She couldn't remain lucid for much longer, and dozed off lazily using the golden-haired mare's boobs for pillows. Ditsy-Do, also verily thought drained in more ways than one, wrapped her arms around Octavia, and was also begin to slip in a deep slumber, her half-erect members still buried inside of Celeste. They both drifted off to sleep together on the floor, smiling gently. End of learning instruments. And this was written by Mediocre Human. You can look up on the PS4, and he is amazing at what he does. So, that was instrumental. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And this is AZ Rookie, bringing you a reading that messed up earlier, so I brought this one. So I will be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye bye.